Because I had an update a couple of weeks ago, right? So there's two comets. Well, there's actually more comets in the sky, way more, but they're all very, very dim. Virtanen is now naked eye if you are somewhere dark.
And without clouds.
Yeah, and when there are no clouds. And that is my fault.
Did you buy something?
Yes.
Oh no.
A 90mm meat refractor.
Oh, you screwed up the whole season for me.
No wonder the only thing I've seen is the moon, and it was like 15 minutes before the meeting.
Yes, well, I know, it's terrible. So if you don't get any clear nights, it's all my fault. Anyway, supposedly the coma is 4 degrees white. And that is 8 times the moon width. So if you think of that, that is quite something. I have seen a comet before like that. Well, Holmes was actually one with quite a big coma. But another one was Iris Iraqi Alcott, and it was in 1983. I was still just in Holland, and I came just from a astronomical exhibition we did for a hobby exhibition, and I was one of the people guarding the table, whatever. And I came out and I knew where it would be, and I looked up, and this was in the city of Utrecht. And I saw this balloon-like thing in the sky. I will never forget that, naked eye. So that was really something. Virtanen is not that bright. It's right now they say about 4.5. It's getting a bit underestimated because of the coma. It's very hard to compare that with stars. You have to get the stars just as white, unfocused as the coma of the comet to make an estimate properly. And that is a problem because it's now so big you can actually not get stars that much out of focus. So it's very difficult to actually estimate the brightness. But some say, well, it's probably 3.5 magnitude. So. It will be closest on the 16th of December. Last time I set another date, and mea culpa, that was another comet. Magel's Fujikawa Iwamoto, that was just recently discovered, has gone by the sun. It survived perihelion, but I think it's now something like 12th magnitude or so. So I have not even mentioned it further here. If you really want to know, you can contact me. So I will just look at Virtanen.
Sorry, can you just go back for just a second? Coma almost 4 degrees. The coma of Virtanen is 4 degrees?
Yes, sir.
Wow. That's like 8 times the diameter of the moon.
Yes, sir.
Holy.
That's what they said.
Just sank in.
I'm still trying to understand that.
Yes.
Get my head around.
I got 2 questions. I don't know what a coma is. I don't know much about comets. Second question.
You
I
will
have,
see it in the picture very soon.
Then the second one I have is it survived the perihelion. What do you mean by the word survive?
Okay, if a comet goes close by the sun, it can, because of gravitational and tidal forces, it can be just ripped apart and disintegrates. And it's always an exciting moment if a comet is coming close. I don't know how close Magel's Ensevoort came to the sun, but they were actually quite relieved in the veteran comet group, right, that it had survived. So it must have been coming in a dangerous zone, let's say it that way. So a coma is actually a comet is a dirty snowball. They say if it's far from the sun, it's just like a dirty snowball asteroid. It has gases inside of it and so forth, but they're all frozen. Then it comes to near the sun, or it starts to, at Jupiter or so, it starts to expand gases, and these gases are being pushed away from the nucleus. And basically, the ionized gases will show as a straight tail away from the sun, while the dust particles those are bigger, will show a curved tail. Now, right now, Virtanen only shows the ion tail, and very, very dim. So, and then the coma is actually the round gas around the nucleus that can be millions of kilometers big. So, I don't know how big it is with Virtanen, but it must be something like that. The nucleus itself, the nucleus itself is just very small, like 6 kilometers or something very small. This is on December 16th. It's closest to the Earth, which means it will be the brightest, and after that it will go peter out, basically, unless, and that is so nice with comets, we never know what they do. Sometimes there might be some hidden gaseous things in there that get suddenly pushed out of the comet because of all the solar pressure, and then it can explode almost, not really explode, but expand, and you might get a brightening of the comet. So that can happen. It can also suddenly peter out. So, and that's the nice thing about comets. You never know what they're gonna do, really. So we see here the Moon and Mars and Uranus and Virtanen. So it gives you a little bit of an idea where it is. It's going to go right by the Pleiades. So you can see that here. So today it's already gone by the Pleiades, and now it will go by the Pleiades on the 16th of December by accident. So, and it will go on and on and on. And I have some. So this is Taurus, right? As you know, with Aldebaran, Aldebaran, whatever you say in English. I'm from Holland, for some people that don't know, so I have my own pronunciation of star names. And it will go right through Oregon, with Capella here, and right through the 3 little kids, little goatees.
That would be nice beside Capella, don't you think? Like, that's very close to
Yeah, so
that would be a very nice
well, let's hope that it clears up, and my telescope is just a very modest purchase because it was second hand, and it is not a big telescope, so it shouldn't have that much influence, right?
Much more like
Should be clear by
suffering
then, right?
turkey.
So this is Comet 46P, right?
Yes.
And the other one was 67E, Curelet-Balan. What does the P stand for?
Periodic. It will come back.
Oh.
And the other comets will come by, and they might maybe come back in 100,000 years. Or they are totally in a parabolic sort of orbit that they possibly never come back, or it would be in a million years or so. And it's hard even to have that small segment that we see around the sun to determine if it would come back.
When's the last time this guy's been around?
This one? Every 5.5 years, so 4.5 years, 5.5 years, something like that.
But not usually this close to Earth.
Yeah, and that's why we don't see it otherwise, because it's so small, it's very dim, and it was discovered in 1947 by Mr. Virtanen, astronomer, and or maybe he was a professor, I don't know, I should maybe not say that on Mr. But it's been around and around and around. Only this time it comes very close, like 12 million kilometers, which is close, okay? That is what Hyakutake was, about 10 kilometers in 1996, and it was a very fine comet with a long tail because it came very close. We could see it, and you could see it move, and probably you could see this thing move too through the telescope, very slowly, like the hands of a clock. But you will see it. What I saw was it started to move by those other stars in the background, and I said, "Wow, I've never seen a comet move before." So I expect that it will do that too. Anyway, if comet Hale-Bopp was as close as Hyakutake, and I said that previously, we would have a blazing daytime comet.
Yeah.
But it was 250 million kilometers away from us. So,
I think they were saying that this is the 5th closest comet historically, something like that.
yeah, something like
It's
that.
actually pretty
Fifth or
close to us
10th or
comets,
something
yeah.
like that. Yeah. So this is globally the direction it's going to take. And here in approach on December the 12th. Oops, sorry. Here is the comet. Not much of a tail here. It does have one, but it will be a challenge to see that through the telescope. You will see it as a blob, okay? And here the Pleiades, and here Hyades, and Aldebaran, Aldebaran. So, and that was a few days ago. Very nice picture.
It doesn't seem to be on the line that you had on the map, does it? Where the comet's located? Isn't
Yeah,
it in the
well,
wrong place?
It's
it goes
rotated
that
a bit,
way.
yeah, it's rotated a
it
bit.
goes that way, okay? So, I wanted to rotate it, but oopsie, he put it this way, and I thought, oh, well, I'll leave it like that. Anyway, it will go this way.
Nice picture.
Yes, it is. And then the last picture, basically. This is Don from Namibia. Very well
Farm
known.
down the road.
Very well known to Rick. The place, and because it was so dark, he actually could see. And if you look, it goes a bit too fast to my taste, but I cannot slow that down. You can see here at a certain point sort of a chunk, as it were. It's almost like there's a disconnect taking place in the tail. And that is done by the solar wind. And further, this possibly is a rotation of the nucleus that it spits out
Spirals,
the tail. So,
very cool.
The Tivoli farm's considerably more expensive than that.
okay, well, there you go. Anyway, so the best chart you can get at my Dutch comet fanatic colleague at KW Astronomical NL, which is the Netherlands Astro. You click on comet charts in the sidebar. You will scroll down the main part, and you will find the right chart to download. I have here 2 charts for the next 2 weeks. So if you're interested, you can get them from me. And I would say clear skies. I hope again, but my telescope doesn't ruin it all for you.
Wonderful. Any questions for Eleanor?
yeah,